With Mauricio Pochettino's departure from Chelsea Football Club, the search has begun for a new man to take the reins, with a 4-man shortlist being discussed internally. Atop of that list is Italian Enzo Maresca, who in recent times has been the rumoured forerunner to be our next manager. So, like I did with Pochettino before he was appointed last year in my most popular video ever, I thought I'd take an in-depth look into Enzo Maresca's tactics this time and see how Chelsea could possibly set up under him in the 2024-2025 Premier League season. I'll be comparing us to Enzo Maresca's Leicester City side, which largely dominated the Championship last season. They set up in a formation that is familiar to us Chelsea fans, the 4-2-3-1. Maresca's style of play is focused around a fairly common new age tactic, the inverted fullback. In his Leicester side, this was mainly the role of Ricardo Pereira on the right, with Hamza Chowdhury sometimes filling into this role in his absence. The benefit of having an inverted fullback is rather simple. In possession, the extra man in midfield allows for more control of the ball in central areas, usually providing a 4v3 advantage in the middle up against most of the common formations in the modern game, such as this 4-3-3 right here, or the 4-2-3-1 for example. Gaining that advantageous position in the middle is the first step of two main objectives this Leicester City side set out to accomplish. They either want to find the spare man in space when the defending team presses, or draw out the opposition's central defenders to nullify this advantage, leading to 1v1s being created out wide with the wingers and in the centre with the striker. Leicester were confident that they could win their individual battles 1v1, and so these two scenarios ended up being a win-win for the Foxes. And this worked against all types of formations. Against the 4-3-3, the 4v3 is created in the centre like this. Against the 4-2-3-1, there's a 4v2 instead, which is a great benefit, and even if the striker and 10 in this system drop deep to match up with Leicester's 4, all this does is provide more space for the centre-backs on the ball. This same situation arises against the 4-4-2, with the two strikers operating similarly, and allowing the Foxes' centre-backs to have time on the ball to pick out passes, or wear the opposition out with patient play until a mistake provides a route forward. The way Leicester built up in possession was similar to what we have seen from Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola in the Premier League in recent years, with Enzo being another one of the Man City head coach's disciples, and following similar philosophies. They aim for high possession, with the ideology that statistically, the more you have the ball, the more control of the game you have, and the more chances you are able to create. When the team shifts into this 3 at the back system, the onus is on the 3 centre-backs to occupy the same space and same width as a forward. Sometimes Mads Hermansen in the Leicester City goal would come into the back line to help achieve this, with him often acting as an auxiliary centre-back on either side depending on which way the central centre-back dropped. And this centre-back is very important to the build-up play. It's his job to look up and see where the avenues for forward passes are in the side. These can be to the spare man in the midfield when those man advantages are created, but even when the teams are even, there's a solution. A lot of the time the central 9 will drop deeper into midfield and become the extra man, allowing the central centre-back to spear a direct pass up to him so he can hold up the ball. The striker either gets the ball in space and can turn, or drags the marking centre-back with him, providing more space in behind. Playing through the lines is a big part of what made Maresca's side so good. They were able to navigate the press well, and swiftly break forward when the opposition had decreased numbers back defending. In terms of chance creation, often they would look to the wide areas once the space had opened up, and try to get into positions for cutbacks, with either their wingers or advancing centre-mids making runs in behind, putting the ball into the box to either the main striker or the aforementioned centre-mids. But this Leicester side wasn't just all about flashy attacking play, they were also good going backwards too. The inverted fullback isn't just an in-possession tactic, it also helps the team defensively. It provides the attacking side with 5 players left behind when going forward, so if and when the ball is lost, there are more players back to defend on the transition, which wouldn't be present there if the team was in a standard 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. This formation is well balanced, with 5 men forward and 5 men back, making the team able to create danger in attacking scenarios and be more solid in defensive ones. They try to maintain this shape when they lose the ball, aiming to win the ball back early with a counter press and spring transitions, or reclaim possession and start to build up once again. If, however, the opposition do manage to string enough passes together to create danger, the fullback would return to his natural position, retreating to add another body in the defensive third, with the team reverting to a more standard 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2 in their own half. Now, a lot of what I've discussed there will sound familiar to Chelsea fans and fans of this channel specifically, because it's largely what I've been talking about and what we've been seeing very recently in Poch's 3-2-5 system that he was using at the end of his tenure. I think that this appointment could be rather seamless, with the players already used to operating in a similar way to how Enzo Maresca would like them to. In fact, considering how good Leicester were at defending last season in comparison to us, along with us bringing in a new set-piece coach in Bernardo Cueva, we genuinely might continue to be great offensively, but improve defensively, significantly increasing the chances of us doing well next season. Considering we conceded the most amount of goals in our history last season and still finished 6th, I'd say it's a good omen. Now let's take a look at how this system can work with the Chelsea team and which personnel would fit where. Starting with the goalkeeper, this is an interesting one because Maresca really likes his goalkeeper to be able to play with the ball at his feet, and though we've seen improvement in that regard from Georgi Petrovic, it's yet to be seen whether he is deemed good enough at this to retain his place under the new management. Robert Sanchez equally was booted out of Roberto De Zerbi's Brighton side for failing to live up to these expectations, so perhaps we see a surprise return for Kepa Arrizabalaga, who is still a Chelsea player and is great with his feet. In all seriousness though, we will likely stick with the Serbian shot stopper for next season if we don't bring in a new keeper. There's been reports suggesting that we are looking at Aston Villa's Emi Martinez, for example. The back four excites me because we have almost the perfect match for Maresca's setup. Axel Disasi is a parallel of Yannick Vestergaard in the central centre-back role, a strong, tall centre-back that is good at direct passing through the lines. Trevor Chalobah can operate as the right centre-back, we've seen how good he is in that role. If he leaves, the possibly incoming Tosin Adarabioyo can fit in here. Let's not forget Wesley Fofana either, who can play here once he's back from injury. The left centre-back role is a match made in heaven for Levi Colwill, who again is an excellent ball-playing centre-back, something that Enzo Maresca would love. Likewise, Benoit Badiashile can rotate into this role. Moises Caicedo slots incredibly well into the Harry Winks role, as he's a technically gifted defensive midfielder that is not only able to operate in tight spaces, but can turn away from pressure and then play through the lines to progress us forward, exactly how that Leicester team operated. In the inverted fullback role, this is where it's interesting. We could opt to continue to use Cucurella here. He has the experience playing this position and has been excellent ever since he adopted it. Reece James could play here also, and is the more likely to do so if he's fit, though we might be able to fit both of these two in if James plays as a right centre-back like he did under Thomas Tuchel periodically. Admittedly, both of these roles could limit his creative output, but we've seen Ricardo Pereira in this role provide 7 goals and assists this season for the Foxes, which I would expect James to at least be able to match. In the Kiernan Dewsbury Hall role could be either Enzo, Carney or Gallagher if he doesn't leave, and next to him, Cole Palmer would retain his place as this inside 10. Nkunku could also operate in one of those positions, but I'd expect him to play on the left side mainly, with Noni Madueke or Palmer on the right side. Or perhaps this could be where transfer target Michael Elise slots in, with the ex-Chelsea Frenchman possibly returning to the bridge this summer. Up top would be Nicholas Jackson, or a new striker if we buy one, but in this system I think Jackson would fit perfectly. He's great at dropping deep and becoming that 5th man we spoke about, as his hold-up and link-up play is exactly what's needed in this role, being the platform that our other players can springboard off of when we are playing through the lines. Overall, I truly believe that Enzo Maresca could be a success at Chelsea Football Club. With higher quality players who fit the system, this could be the start of a fruitful project, with the Italian tipped to sign a 5-year deal at the time of recording. Chelsea and Italian managers have been a match made in heaven in recent history, and hopefully if Enzo is appointed, we can replicate some of that success. We'll have to wait and see if he can do this come next season if this deal does get done, but if you can't wait until then, YouTube reckons you'll enjoy one of these 2 videos on screen in the meantime. Thank you guys so much for watching as ever, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on you Blues!